Good evening, everyone. Buddhist here. Head of London Buddhist Vihara and the Chief Sanganaya of Great Britain, Venerable Sirs, dear friends in the Dhamma. Attending in person here at London Buddhist Vihara and online. And dear members of the London Buddhist Vihara Trust, thank you for organizing this. As you know, the topic that we advertise is Mara, the evil force, divinities or mental factors. First, I thought I should do a PowerPoint presentation. Then I changed my mind. I thought that I would have to slow down in my presentation, and it would be more like academic. If I use a PowerPoint presentation, basically it will be some pictures and some key points. So instead of PowerPoint presentation, I thought I should just speak from a note on my phone so that I could maintain the flow. So because this is a talk. So once again, I pay my respect and thanks to most Venerable and the London Buddhist Vihara Trust for organizing this. So, Mara, the evil force, divinities or mental factors. Now, this topic paved the way for lots of debates over the Buddhist history. So, if I start with the etymology of the term Mara, Mara comes from Vedic, Sanskrit, Pali, Indian root murti, to kill, to destroy. To kill, to destroy. That's what Sanskrit word is murti, and the Pali word is machu. Mara, the destroyer, killer, one who causes destruction. Now, when it comes to the imagery of Mara, now I collected a lot of artistic depictions of the Mara, starting from ancient Hellenistic Greek, Gandhara of Mara. According to ancient Greek or Hellenistic depictions of Mara, and according to certain commentaries, Attakathas and sub-commentaries, Tikas, Buddhist Attakathas, Buddhist commentaries and sub-commentaries, and according to those artistic depictions, Mara, this is how the Mara's appearance is explained, especially his face. So having read all those texts, I came up with this short description of Mara's face, especially his teeth. The teeth of the Mara are often depicted as sharp, jagged, and menacing, designed for tearing and gnashing. In many artistic and literary representations, they are exaggerated, however. Either as rows of razor-like fangs, beastly tusks, or elongated incisors. So some myths portray them as dripping with venom, while others suggest they are blackened, cracked, or even metallic, reflecting an unnatural, otherworldly essence. The imagery varies across cultures, but the common theme is that his teeth symbolize his predatory, fearsome nature, capable of devouring both flesh and souls. So this is a universal description. Having read different texts, different parts of Buddhist literature, and so I came up with this definition, this conclusion of Mara. Now, but this is the artistic depiction. When it comes to the depiction of, there are three types of depiction of Mara's appearance. According to artistic depictions, as we explained, in Gandhara, in Hellenistic Greek, ancient Greek arts, and also in Chinese, whichever the arts. So his Mara's face resembles that of the devil in Judeo-Christian religions. So that's the artistic depiction by artists. Second one is psychic depictions or the psychic explanations. Now I read a number of life stories of Thai, Burmese / Myanmar and Sri Lankan forest monks who were, they are no more. They were highly revered as enlightened, but there's no way to determine someone's enlightenment. At least on the popular level, those monks, those meditators or yogis are highly revered as enlightened. But it's not about their enlightenment, but the way Mara appeared to them and how the Mara looked like. But the psychic explanations and the canonical depiction, the Buddhist Pali canonical depictions of Mara are pretty much the same. So there's no much difference between the psychic explanations of Mara by different teachers, by different gurus, and the way Mara is depicted in the Buddhist canon. Now, according to both the other second and third type of depictions of Mara, first one is artistic, and we exclude that already. Artistic depictions is such that it only shows that Mara was fierce looking, so that his teeth protruding whenever he want to devour someone, kill someone, eat up someone. So that's the general one. So according to the psychic depictions and the canonical depictions of Mara, according to psychic depictions and as well as canonical depictions, Mara would come to people, spiritual people. Mara would never appear before those whose life is full of desire, full of cravings. There's no point for the Mara to waste time to appear before those who have so much karma tanha, debauchery, those who live a very luxurious life, those who are into. So the Mara would never attack them. Why? Such people are causing their own destruction. So the Mara would take care of someone else. So the Mara doesn't have to waste his time. So according to canonical depictions, the Mara again, and then as well as the psychic explanations of those teachers, Mara would hardly appear in his original form. What is the original form? Now, let me pay your attention to say the Mara as according to Buddhist canon. Mara isn't an evil. He's an evil one, evil force, but he's a handsome deity. He's a beautiful, handsome deity with lean muscles, like a 22, 23-year-old young man. Could say like 18 to 22, prime age. That's how the Mara is. Why? Because Mara is the ruler of one of the heavens. Now, in Buddhist cosmology, starting from the lowest one, Chatum Maharajika, Tavatinsa, Yama, Tusita, Nimmanarati, Paranimita Vasavati. Paranimita Vasavati is the highest heaven. Now, so the higher the heaven, the divine beings in those heavens are more into desire. So when it comes to the highest heaven, so they are the divine beings in the highest heaven, the sixth one, Paranimita Vasavati. They are extremely desirous. Their existence is full of craving. Now, I would like to explain the two heavens. So the name of that heaven is Paranimmita Vasavatti. Now, and there are two heavens that the highest two heavens, Paranimmita Vasavatti, so the Nimmana Rati and Paranimmita Vasavatti. Devas or divine beings living in the fifth heaven, Paranimmita Vasavatti. Now, they would never look for anything material for their gratification, karma. Everyone is familiar with the word karma, right? Even though I'm not supposed to talk about that, everyone, especially the whole world, came to know the word karma not because of Buddhist texts, but because of the Kama Sutra from India. So the karma is debauchery, desire. Now, according to, unlike the divine beings or devas living in lower heavens and human beings and other different earthly beings, so the beings in the fifth and the sixth heavens, they only have to think about what they want, and things appear before them right away. So that's why the Nimmana Rati, that term is it's a beautiful name. But we always talk about the sixth heaven, Paranimmita Vasavatti, but we hardly talk about the fifth one. But the fifth heaven is, they have a lot of so that's called Paranimmita, Nimmana. Nimmana means to create something. Rati means attachment, joy. So whenever devas or divine beings on the fifth heaven, Nimmana Rati, when they think about, they feed they satisfy, they gratify their tanha, Pali word, Trishna, Sanskrit word, proper English translation, thirst. Usually we translate tanha as craving, but the proper actual translation is thirst. You can very easily remember the word tanha. T for tanha, T for thirst. Okay, tanha, thirst. So, whenever Nimmana Rati devas won't have feelings of desire, now and in their own imagination, so that their own minds would create a source for their gratification. They would be happy. Like, for example, you are on a sunny day, you are so you are outside, you are in the park, so it's sunny and you enjoy the breeze as well, and you are having some romantic feelings. So this monk would try his best to explain everything in layman's language, thereby avoiding all the academic terms, philosophical terms. And then you are doing that, all of a sudden when you think about someone or something, you feel something happen into your body. You get kind of elated. You feel sometimes you may even get goosebumps when you think about someone or something that would love very much. But that person or the thing is not right there. But it's in your imagination. It's in your perception. You are creating that. Now that's the way Nimmana Rati devas gratify their desires. Nimmana Rati. So whereas when you go to the next heaven, the highest one, now they have another ability, but they are higher than Nimmana Rati. So again, Nimmana Rati means, Nimmana is to create, Rati. Whenever you have Rati, attachment, desire for something, things, whatever you want to have in your life as a divine being, it appears right there. Mostly it's in your mind, it's mental. It's more like mental food, emotional food. Whereas when you go to the highest heaven, the sixth heaven, Paranimmita Vasavatti. Now, that term is very important. Para means by others. Nimmita, created. Vasavatti, rule over or control the productions of others. Vasavatti means the production of others. Vasavatti means Vasa means actually to control. power. Those divine beings who maintain power, who have power over the productions of other beings. That's what Paranimita Vasavatti means. Now, Nimmanarati Devas are not harmful actually. The divine beings on the fifth heaven, they wouldn't come down to the earth they wouldn't tempt other beings, because they have their own simple source of gratification in their imagination, in their perception. Because they are mental beings anyway, they are astral beings. They don't have, according to the Buddhist cosmological explanations, according to Buddhist canon, divine beings don't have a dense atomic body that we do have. But their mind is kind of mind-made, very astral. So if the Mara is here right now, if divine beings are here, we don't see them. Unless you have some psychic power. I don't have. So then, Paranimita Vasavatti. Now that's where the term speaks for what the Mara would do. Now so there are 5 Maras anyway. We're going to go through them. So I think I would first say the list. Otherwise, then you can know what. Then you would know. You have a better idea what this month is talking about. There's a list of 5 Maras that come across in the Buddhist literature. The first one is Mara the deity. That's we are talking about. Mara the deity, the divine being. Deva, Mara. Deva means divine beings. First one. The second one is Khanda. Khandha. Khanda is Pali. In the Sanskrit term is Skandha. Skandha. Sinhalese word is Khanda. Skandha. Skandha means body. Skandamara means there are 5 khandhas, 5 aggregates. That's the Pali term for khandha, 5 aggregates. And there are, according to the Buddha's teachings, our selfhood, our body and mind, our corporeality, and our psychologies together called the Nama and Rupa. Nama is name, that's the psychological aspect of our being, our selfhood. And Rupa is the corporeal or the material aspect of our being. So together we call the Nama and Rupa. Scholars would call them the name, the mind body. It's a term, the mind body. Mind body are 2 different terms in English. But according to Professor Rhys Davids, mind body is 1 word. You can coin terms, coin words. In Buddhist terminology, we call the mind body, meaning name and form means our corporeality and psychology. Now, so there are 5 khandhas. Again, the psychology is divided into 4 Vedana, sensations, Sanya, perception, Sankhara, mental coefficients, that we create the things, the power, the ability to create things. And so Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. So the consciousness in terms of our ability to gather and harbor and deposit and store our memories, habits, conclusions, assumptions, etc. But this is no time to talk about the 5 khandhas, but it's worth mentioning here. So the Khanda Mara is the second one. Our body, our selfhood itself is Mara. That's the second one. The first Mara is Mara the deity. That's we are talking about. The second one is Khanda Mara, Mara the selfhood. Third one is Kilesa Mara. Kilesa, K-I-L-E-S-A. Kilesa is a Pali word. The Sanskrit word is Klesha, K-L-E-S-A. Klesha. Klesha means Mara the defilements. Mara the mental defilements. That's the third one. And then Abhisankhara Mara. Abhisankhara. A-B-H-I-S-A-N-K-H-A-R-A. Abhisankhara. Abhisankhara means karma. The karma. Mara the karma. Now that is understood. Mara the karma. Like especially in the Western world, people always mention one term. Whenever the oppressor or the villain faces consequences of his evil action, and then so the oppressed or the innocent would say instant karma, right? Instant karma. My oppressor just faces instant karma. So the abhisankara is mara the karma. And the last one, the fifth one, is machu. Machu mara. Machu, M-A-C-C-U, machu. The Sanskrit was mrutyu. M-R-T-Y-U, mrutyu. Mara the death. Mara the death. But in going back to those artistic depictions of Mara, always the first one and the last one are assimilated. So the artists have come up with a picture of Mara being the devil. That's why that Mara would have his teeth protruding whenever he wants to kill someone, devour someone. So that's Mara the deity and Mara the death. Those two concepts are assimilated in Buddhist arts, in arts actually. So whereas in Buddhist literature, they are mentioned as 5 different Maras. Now here's the area of debate over the Buddhist history and even among scholars. Let me read out 2 canonical references. Now we are still talking about Mara the being, the deity, but the topic, as you know, Mara the evil force, divinities or mental factors. We are yet to conclude. Perhaps there will be no conclusion made. So these 2 episodes from the sutra, the first one. This one is the Padhana Sutta of the Samyutta Nikaya. In the Padhana Sutta, this is what you hear in the Padhana Sutta of the Samyutta Nikaya. Before enlightenment, Mara tries to distract the Bodhisattva, Buddha to be, during his meditation. Mara sends his armies to attack the Buddha. So Bodhisattva remains unmoved, and after his enlightenment, the earth would bear witness to the Buddha's enlightenment. And you have seen this earth touching mudra. It's one of the popular artistic creations, the statue of the Buddha Rupa, Buddha statue. Buddha calling the earth to witness his enlightenment. So that's one explanation. Now this is, according to the Padhana Sutta episode, is before his enlightenment, when he was the Bodhisattva, when he was still trying. Now that is understood. Now those who argue that there's no divine, no actual being in the universe called Mara, and they would always refer to this canonical reference in the Padhana Sutta. But there's another canonical reference that occurs in the Mahakandaka of the Vinaya Pitaka. That Mahakandaka, that's for monastics in the Vinaya Pitaka. Mara attempts to dissuade the Buddha from teaching. After enlightenment, Mara appears and suggests the Buddha should enter Parinibbana, final passing away, instead of teaching, because the Buddha has already achieved his goal. There's no point remaining on earth more, and he must go now. The Buddha, out of compassion, and then Buddha notices. And then he appeared as a humble person. Now that's what all those gurus, teachers, monks, nuns with psychic powers, that's what they say. Always Mara, the deity, would appear to them not in his original garb, in his original appearance, but in a different garb, either as a upasaka. Once one bhikkhuni, one Buddhist nun from Myanmar, she told me that in her psychic level, before, as she was going into jhanas, psychic absorptions, so there appeared another bhikkhuni, a nun, and say that, so I am one of your friends. Why bear the robes? You are still young. And the nun was still very young, in her early 30s. So I have decided to disrobe myself and go enjoy my life. Why not you? And then she felt that it was a supernatural presence, and so that right away she said, "You must be the Mara." And then so that image disappeared. Now that's the pattern elsewhere, and I have collected some references how Mara appears. The Mara, the deity, appears. Whenever the Mara appeared to the Buddha and any monk or any nun, anyone, any spiritual person, most of the time the Mara would appear in a different garb other than his own original appearance. So if you are a lady, if you are a woman, Mara would appear as a handsome man. If you are a man, Mara would appear to you as a beautiful woman. So to tempt you. Why? Paranimmita Vasavati. Now, unlike the Nimmanarati Devas, unlike the Nimmanarati Devas, Paranimmita Vasavati Devas, they derive their gratification, sensual gratification, not from their own, but from other people's behavior. Because I do, in my counseling session, sometimes some people come with deviant sexual addictions. Deviant sexual addiction, because that plays sexual deviance plays a very important role in Buddhist psychology. But a lot of people have that. But according to, in a Buddhist perspective, no behavior is deviant, but natural. People have a right to behave whatever the way, as long as they don't harm anyone, as long as they don't violate accepted ethical principles and legal norm, ethical and legal principles, legal boundaries. However, I have counseled over 200 people in different countries, both men and women. You wouldn't believe the way they find look for the way they satisfy their karma, their sexuality. So now, one of my friends in America, now he had such beauty. Now he got into meditation and he was able to, because he went to jail 3 times for molesting someone. But later he became a good meditator, yogic person, and so then he explained to me once in a friendly dialogue. He told me that, I think, Bhante, I am no different than a devata, a deva from the 6th heaven. I would love to people. My case is. I involve myself in activity, sexual activity, several times, but most of the time I would love to see people doing that. I want to see people doing that. That's what gratifies me. A scenario, an event, a snenario would gratify me. So that's what would arouse my desire, karma, and then would assuage my karma, so that I'm settled now. Because I always need someone else to do that. When I see couples and people doing that, I love that. So that is where I am happy. So that is purely Paranimmita Vasavati way of enjoying. So the Paranimmita, so that's where the problem is. Now, Devas, basically, especially the ruler of the 6th heaven, so the Mara, the Vasavati Mara, he is well known in certain places as Vasavati Mara. Mara, the one who overpowers others. Mara, the one who rules over the predictions, the productions of others. Production, the term here is your gratification, your way of enjoying things. Now, so a feeling, a sensation of karma or raga, a desire, sexual energy, etc., is a production in Buddhist terms. Now, so that's where the problem is. If you are into the human level, because I need a very nice story from my own, from the area that I come from in Sri Lanka, in Western area, where my monastery is. There were 2 rich people. They were brothers actually. early morning, especially on full moon days, when men and women and children, when they walk to the monastery, clad in white, and then they would come out and then they would yell at them and they would spit to show their so they would despise them, so for no reason. Those people, they would no harm to those two rich people. They are extremely rich, and they would hate the presence of spiritual people. If you are spiritual, you don't have to do anything specifically to provoke them. Your appearance, your action, your spiritual action, your presence as a spiritual person itself is a great source of provocation. You provoke them. That's what happened to the Mara. Mara, the deity, wouldn't like you to have spiritual behavior. And there's another reference in the Buddhist, in the Vinaya. According to Vinaya, I think the Buddha gives a piece of advice to monks and nuns, monastic, especially young, regardless of age, but especially younger ones. So especially those who have never had, according to commentaries and sub-commentaries, those who have never had an active sexual life, so that they have to be very careful. Now, certain divine beings, not the Mara himself, would come down whenever you as per the Buddha's advice, if you are a monk or a nun, you have to be mindful of not having any lustful ideas, especially in the middle of the night. Why is that? They would come down to tempt you. They would create visualizations in your head. So that until you have, but I'm comfortable with using the word because there's a psychological term. It also happens to those who are in meditation. That's called erection, as you know. People have erections. That's a psychological, so the biological reactions to your karma, your lustful feelings. And certain people would have psychic erections. Nothing happens to your physical body, but you will have some. It's called on the psychic level. You have some. That's called psychic erections. Nothing to do with your body, and so that corresponds to the Buddha's advice to monastics. Be watchful of your feelings, your vedanas, your sensations. In case they are lustful, there are certain beings who would come down and tempt you further. There can be temptation. So the temptation. So the Mara, the deity, is also mentioned. Mara, the tempter, the great. Tempter the great. So that's his purpose. By tempting others into desire, so the actions of desire, craving, etc., sexuality, sensuality, etc. So those Mara would be happy. So that's the whole purpose of Vasavatti Mara. Now, according to the second reference, that's according to Vinaya, now Buddha was already enlightened now. He is no longer the Bodhisattva. But now, according to the first canonical reference of the Padana Sutta, he wasn't enlightened yet. So it's understood that he was still a normal person. So, and those who argue that there's no divine being called Mara as such, there are only mental factors. So now they very often use this canonical reference in the Padana Sutta to say that now it is purely mental factors. It's purely mental factors that were blocking the Bodhisattva, that were hindering the Bodhisattva from enlightenment. Whereas when it comes to many other canonical references, starting from the very first in the Mahakanda or the Vinaya Pitaka, so the Mara appeared to Buddha. Now there's no way that Buddha had any negative mental factors, because he was already enlightened. So that means there should be an external force that's called the Mara. But according to psychology, and especially parapsychology in general, in general parapsychology, and now I do believe in the how to say, I believe in the energy university. Energy universe. So the entire universe is a matrix of energy. Now there are certain beings, and if I come up with an example on the human level, now in classical in English you say birds of a feather flock together, right? Birds of a feather flock together. Now when you are a spiritual person, non-spiritual, if there are someone in your inner circle who are not spiritual, who hate being spiritual, and they would definitely, your presence before them would definitely anger them. Why is that? Because you are spiritual. They don't like it. Whereas, I have seen that negative people always make friends very easily. It's easier to form a circle of negative people than a circle of positive people. That's because of their vibes, energy vibes. So then on the human level you can very easily understand. So evil like evil, good like good. And there's another word when it comes to the description of the Mara in the Mahakandaka of the Vinaya Pitaka and elsewhere. Buddha uses a certain phrase to let the Mara know that Buddha knew it was the Mara and nothing else, no one else. And Buddha uses this phrase, and occurs throughout the Pitaka. Maro papima antako. Maro papima antako. Mara is understood, Mara the destroyer, one who causes destruction. Papima, the sinner, one who is sinful. Why sinful? Why is Mara considered a sinner? Because he would try his best to prevent people from living a good life, a spiritual life. Thereby, by hindering others from becoming spiritual, he created a lot of sin. Mara, so the Mara, the Papima, the one, the sinner. Antaka literally means end, extreme. Antaka means the destroyer. Antaka means one who takes someone to the edge of destruction, to the brink of destruction, to the edge of, so that it would fall, that person would fall off, creating the adversity. So the Maro Papima Antaka. So according to the Mahavagga, Mahakandaka, and many other, and elsewhere in the canon, that is the term that Buddha uses. Whenever Buddha knew it was the Mara, he would say Maro Papima Antako. I know you are the Mara, the sinner, the destroyer. It says then the Mara would disappear. Now, there's a funny and fascinating, intriguing explanation of Mara's behavior in the canon. So, Mara, to that effect, I love Mara. If he's listening, and then he would be happy. Mara never breaks the fourth precept, Musavada. Mara never lies. And that's intriguing to know. It is intriguing to notice that Mara never lies. Why is that? Being a divine being, if Mara lies, and he would fall from his divinity. So the divine beings don't lie. What they do is they tempt people, they confuse. Mara would confuse people until the person being tempted come to their own conclusion that it is their own failure. For example, when you are a spiritual person, when you're in meditation, if Mara appears to you, the Mara would not, if you ask the Mara, knowing that it's the Mara, and then when you say to the Mara, oh, I know you are the Mara, the destroyer, the sinner, and you say that, and then is according to the descriptions, according to Buddhist scripture, when the Mara knows that you have already known that it's the Mara, and he would become tight-lipped. When you add the second time, and he would struggle to keep his lip tight. When you add the third time, he would open his mouth and so that he would disappear. Before disappearing, he would show his teeth. Now this is how his teeth is explained as a term. What's that? Jagged teeth. Jagged teeth. So now, even though he is a handsome deity, young deity, one thing is ugly. His teeth are ugly. Then once I asked one of the teachers why his good karma. By the way, you must have a lot of good karma to get reborn into the sixth heaven. But at the same time, automatically you become evil. It's like it happened to some, I can generalize it. Let's say you have a lot of things in your life, but let's say all the comfort, all the luxury you have in your life. So what happens to you if someone acquires more wealth than you? Then you become jealous. You may even cause the destruction of that person. Sometimes I know some people, it happens. When you are the richest person, and when someone is going to become richer than you, you have you have wealth in abundance, you have everything. You have so much that you can very easily buy comfort. But what you can tolerate, what you can stand is someone else is going to become richer than you. You don't stand that. So at that point, it doesn't matter how much you have, but you become jealous. And you may even mastermind destroying that person. It happens in the business world. It happens in the corporate world. So there are lawsuits also. It happens. So that's what happened to the Mara too. So the Mara he appears to you according to the canonical description. Whenever he shows his beautiful face, and he would sometimes, but mostly, he would appear in a different garb, and then he would show your face, and then we know that someone cannot be this beautiful, this attractive. That's what your gut feeling would say. There's no way. And one hint, one clue that is explained in the canon, in the canonical description, in the scripture, is that his eyes are sharp, way too sharp. Sometimes when you look at a beautiful face, male or female, when eyes are unrealistically sharp, sometimes it plants some fear in your head, psychologically speaking. So that's what the Mara's face would be. Then he would be tight-lipped, and then when you add the third time, and Mara would never lie. In that sense, Mara is good. He is way better than those who break the fourth precept, Musavada. So Mara would never lie. And then instead of lying, he would simply accept the defeat and disappear. That's what Mara's explanation is. Now, the next thing is, so close to his, now I would like to get your attention to another canonical reference. So that is the Mahaparinibbana Sutta. Now, soon after his enlightenment, when the Buddha was in the middle of deciding whom to share his Dhamma with, Mara appeared and he suggested that Buddha pass away right away. Because he was done. He became fully enlightened. He should not stay in the world. He must go. That was the suggestion by the Mara. Soon after Buddha's enlightenment, as explained according to the Mahakandaka. Now, Mara attempted, his last attempt is, according to, it is depicted in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta. That's one of the longest sutras in the Dika Nikaya. Dika Nikaya Sutta number 16, Mahaparinibbana Sutta. And it's a lot of people love Mahaparinibbana Sutta. It makes people cry. So that's the last teaching of the final teachings of the Buddha, the Mahaparinibbana Sutta. According to the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, shortly before his Parinibbana, Mara appears again, urging the Buddha to pass away. The Buddha replies that he will not enter Parinibbana until he has fully established the Dhamma. But again, so that was, now Buddha was nearing he was almost 80 now. And there's another mention of Venerable Ananda, Buddha's personal attendant, and all he was well known as Dhamma Bhandagarika, or he was the treasurer of Dhamma, treasurer of the Dhamma. It is said that Venerable Ananda, Buddha asked Venerable Ananda to purposely invite Buddha to stay longer. So there are differences of opinion as to how long Buddha would stay, and the word is kappa. Kappa means eon. Realistically, Buddha would not be able to stay that long, a kalpa, because his physical body wouldn't be able to live that long. Probably he could extend his life. And it is said that the point here is, so when Buddha suggested that if he is invited to stay long, Buddha he could. But it is said that Venerable Ananda didn't hear the Buddha's suggestion, because Venerable Ananda, so mind was possessed by the Mara, because Venerable Ananda was not enlightened yet. And that puts us on another direction, that when it comes to the ability of Mara, he would not be able, he could still tap into the mind of even an enlightened person, just he did. He read the Buddha's mind. He could even tap into the Buddha's psyche. That's a better word, psyche. But he couldn't do one thing. The Mara is not able to plant ideas in the head of an enlightened person. But he could do that to unenlightened people, like Venerable Ananda. He wasn't fully enlightened yet. Now, I know that when I went for my first meditation training when I was a 16-year-old novice monk, that's one of my teachers told me. Now, and he's a very funny teacher. Now, Upananda, if you are successful, if your meditation is a success, if your overnight meditation is a success, you can very easily notice that. So how? Now, if you meditate overnight tonight, and when you walk to the dining hall to have your breakfast meal, dana, and there can be a beautiful girl, teenage girl, smiling with you. So that then I serve, then how could you say that are you saying that every time my meditation is successful, will there be someone like a beautiful girl appearing before me to tempt me? And he said, not always, it usually happens. How? Because there are some people, so the Mara doesn't have to come down. Because what happens is, Mara can direct someone to impress you. However, I didn't think about it that much. But there are some other canonical references, how the Mara would do everything possible to tempt you, to distract you. Now, so the conclusion so far is that, because Mara still appeared before the Buddha even after his enlightenment, there should be an actual external force called the Mara. If it never had it never happened to the Buddha, and we would have concluded that Mara is simply the mental factors. There's no external force like Mara, the deity. The next thing is So, right. There was another one. According to the another sutra, like the Chapa, Mara daughters. And Mara daughters are, so the behavior of Mara daughters are more intriguing than that of the Mara himself. So according to the encounter of Bodhisattva's encounter with Mara, so when Mara failed to tempt the Buddha, he sent down his three daughters. They are called the Mara daughters. So they are Tanha, Arati, and Raga. So that's according to the Chapa Sutta. Chapa Sutta of the Samyutta Nikaya. Mara sends his three daughters, Tanha, craving, thirst, Arati, discontent, distraction from spirituality, and Raga, lust, to seduce the Buddha. The Buddha remains unmoved, stating that he has destroyed all desire. Now this is very important. Why did Mara send his three daughters down to the earth to tempt the Buddha? Buddha is from royalty. He was a royal prince and he was very young. And it's worth trying to tempt him again by sending down three beautiful girls. Three girls. So etymologically, so the Tanha, Arati, and Raga, they are feminine. They are feminine gender nouns, grammatically speaking. So the higher our mentality, our feelings or sensations are, they are more refined, so that they are conjugated in the feminine gender, grammatically speaking. Anyway. So Tanha, Rati, Raga. So then he would, given the behavior of three daughters is very important. Tanha, the first one to go around the Buddha dancing is Tanha. Now Tanha, so according to the canonical and sub-canonical narratives of the dance and performances, so that's the better word, performance by the Mara daughters, but the Tanha was a slow dancer. She would dance very slowly. Now, that is like our lust, our craving. Now, craving is mostly dormant. Now, when our craving hits a source, it gets activated, right? It gets activated. So if a woman is thinking about a man, or if a man is thinking about a woman, when a man or a woman appears before you, and then so the appearance satisfies your imagination, then what happens is so that you will get your Tanha activated. So that's when she dried. Tanha, the daughter, started going around the Buddha. It's like circumambulating with the slow dance. But the Buddha remained unmoved. But when she fell and she disappeared, the second one came down, appeared. That's called Arati. Arati is discontent or distraction from spirituality. Arati. Rati means interest. Arati means distraction. You have no interest at all. Now Arati, so when Tanha failed to tempt the Buddha to have some desire, especially in terms of her beautiful appearance, like sexual feelings, sensual feelings. Now the second one came and she was trickier than the first one. And she would try to bother the Buddha with meditation, to distract him, to get his attention, and so that her dance would be more intense, sometimes getting much closer to the Buddha. Assuming that Buddha would open his eyes and look at her. And it is well explained in sexual psychology also. When somebody wants to tempt someone, they would stay at a distance, and then so sometimes they would come to you and come get closer and try to tempt you. Now, in the Anguttara Nikaya Ekaka Nipada, you come across this reference, canonical reference. If there's a smell in the world that a man would love, that's the smell of a woman. If there's a smell in the world that a woman would love the most, that's the smell of a man. So think about that reference in the canon, so that they closer. So what the Arati did was, now Arati wanted to distract the Buddha, so Buddha his meditation, and the Buddha still remained unmoved. And third one was Raga. And Raga is one of the, is a biochetasika. Now when you have Raga feelings, so it definitely makes some changes into your body. Now physical body, when you have Raga feeling, physical body would react right away. So then Raga would try her best to tempt the Buddha. But Buddha didn't respond, Buddha didn't react. So now there's description according to Chapa Sutta. We had to watch the time as well. But at the same time, now, there's the 10 armies of Mara. Before that, I would like to explain the 5 Maras now. Now, when I asked my teacher, when I was a 16-year-old novice monk, whether Mara would come down to tempt me, actually I was honestly scared. Because, that's what happened to teenagers. I was 16. I was worried too. Once I had some bad dreams also. I felt like, and I even heard that someone is knocking my door in the middle of the night. Then I woke up and there's nothing, there's no one, not even the dogs around. Usually even if there's a supernatural presence, the dog might be, dogs being low frequency must bark. So it never happened. So that's when, because I was kind of paranoid. And later the following day when I went to my teacher, and he told me, okay, but Upananda, you are an overthinker. Think about not the first Mara, there are 4 more Maras. The bigger number of Maras are within you. That's the next point we need to touch here. Then I will continue, and then I should be able to finish the talk. So, and I'll take questions and answers as well. Now, so the second one, so the first one is Mara, the deity. So that is also identified with the devil, evil force, as depicted in arts and in religion. In religion in general, depicts devil, the Mara, the evil force, is a personification. Personification. According to Buddhism, it's a deified. You turn Mara into a deity. You turn Mara into a person. That's called personification or deification. But at the same time, so my teacher asked me to think about the 4 more Maras. The first Mara is called external Mara. External/cosmic Mara. And the other 4 are internal, cognitive internal Maras. That's mean Mara within me. Second one, and that is more psychological. That's where my interest is. When you have control over the last 4 Maras, the first one would not be able to tempt you. So the second one is Skandha Mara, Mara the selfhood. Now your selfhood itself, when you are not mindful of your verbal behavior, the words that you speak, things that the thoughts that you think, and the things that your physical body, you may get into trouble. So the third precept, Kāmesu Micchācārā Veramani Sikkhapadan Samadhiyāmi. That corresponds to the description of the third precept, what's called, so the Mara, the selfhood. Your entire body, our entire body is Mara. Now, when you hit someone, punch in someone's face, I always tell this to people, children. Now, you may get in trouble with the security or the police or the judge or the legal system, justice system. And you land in jail. Now, your jail time is Due to what? By not having control over your self-food Mara, your overall your life, the entire existence, empirical existence is a Mara. The moment we get distracted, the moment we get deluded from our wisdom, our insight, we get into trouble. Right? So sometimes some people, some well-known priests, monks, spiritual leaders, they fall from their grace overnight, simply because of one thing they touch someone improperly. So that's a fine example for the attack from the second Mara. Self-food, Mara the self-food, Mara the self. And then when you look at these different Maras, so when you go further, always the first one is the more external one. When you, of the last four, the second one is, you can understand more easily. When you move to the second one, third one is much deeper. The third one is Kilesa Mara. Kilesa means kleshas or defilements. Your own mentality, mindset. For example, in a gathering, in a social gathering, maybe in a party, could be in a church, maybe at church, at temple, where regardless of the place, in a public gathering. Now, when your enemy appears, when your rival appears, the rival is also attending the gathering. And then when you are in the middle of talking to someone, and you start sweating, and you become restless. So you try your best not to show your anger. Sometimes you will stop the conversation and tell the other party, you know what, I need to grab some water, I'll come back. And you never come back to the conversation. So that's because Kilesa Mara. Because you are angry, you are jealous. Now the Kilesa Mara is all about the behavior. So now the second one is all our overall, our life the Mara, our empirical, our existence is Mara. That's called existential Mara. That's the second one, existential Mara. So the third one is Kilesa Mara. Kilesa, the defilements. Now my teacher told me, okay, Upananda, you have to be careful of these internal Maras. Now third Mara, when you have kilesas or papa, when your mind is defiled, so the yogis or teachers say that Mara, the deity, would not come down to tempt you. Why? You are already saving his time. That's a funny phrasing. Okay, you are saving Mara's time. He can take care of someone else. So because if you are jealous, if you are angry, if you feel restless, you are saving Mara's time, because you are causing your own destruction. Because Mara literally means destruction, emotional destruction. And the fourth one is Abhisankara. Abhisankara Mara is even more tricky. Abhisankara Mara is the Mara, that's the Mara that would ambush you. Mara, the karma. Now when you have Kilesa Mara, it's simply the feelings. You can feel your anger, you can feel your frustration, you can feel your depression, you can feel your jealousy. Whereas Mara, the karma, Abhisankara, is way more tricky and is more dormant. Now it's hiding. Karma has its own timing. Nowadays, that's why, especially in the Western, I love the way the Western mind explains Mara. Now, but as a monk, I'm not supposed to say that. There's a word, karma is, there's a saying, but we don't know the karma is A starting with B. Okay, karma is a B. It's a five-letter word. That's how people say. Karma is a B. So because, and the karma will take care of it. And instant karma is very famous. when I teach children, I always tell, the repercussions of consequences, the consequence of your action. And that's all about karma mara. By creating, through your action, through your unethical, immoral action, you create an enemy within you that would keep hiding for the right moment to come back and attack you. That's mara the karma, abhisankara mara. Sankhara is the creation, because sankhara is a so deep a term that we don't have to explain that here. Abhisankara. So if sankharas are manifest, if you can understand sankhara, so mental fabrication. Sankharas are mental fabrications. But karma is way more deep, it's much deeper than mental fabrications. Mental fabrications would lead to the creation of karma. So the karma, once created, it goes into hiding. So that's the mara ready to ambush you when the moment is right. And that's the fifth one, abhisankara mara, the abhisankara mara, karma. And the last one is machu mara. Now, machu mara, according to one of my friends, he works for the US forces, he's a friend of mine, and he says that now machu mara bante, it doesn't, at no time can machu mara destroy someone. It's like a bullet. It's like a bullet. A bullet can kill someone instantaneously. Now, had the machu mara is the death, the moment of death. So the machu mara is the last one to attack. And it doesn't have to plan everything. Why? Karma and other maras would do whatever they would do and prepare them. So the other maras would do the preparation work for the last one to come and take you away. So that's the last one. Now that being said, there are dasa marasena. This is more psychological, mental thing. So far, what I would like to say is, given the topic, so the mara, the evil force, divinities or mental factors, according to the Buddhist canon, we are using those limitations. So the maras are the divinities. Whereas in the plural is, Deva, Mara the deity, and his daughters. Four people, four forces, they are Mara the deities. It's a funny thing that when Mara the deity is going to attack someone, so when he is restless, it says that it's very funny. All the devas living in his realm, they will run away. Why? The leader is angry, and they would not be able to. And it is said that even God King Chakra, we talk about battles in heaven. Is famous in Greek Roman mythology and in Buddhist narratives of battles in heaven. Also, you come across that when Mara the deity is angry, or when he is declaring war, even the God King Chakra, living on the second heaven, Chatu Maharajika Tavatinsa. So it is said that the lower the heaven, the devas are more spiritual because they are more earthly, it says, close to the earth. So that's why the devas in the first heaven and the second one, they are more spiritual. God King Chakra and the four guardian devas, and they live in the lowest heaven. So, and according to the Buddhist cosmology, now God King Chakra, he is the king of all the heavens. But he would not come out when the ruler of the sixth heaven is agitated. Now, the next thing, the 10 Maras, Marasena, the 10 Dasamarasena, 10 armies of Mara, and the 10 defilements. But they are kilesas actually. These 10 Maras that are they are my mentalities. They are mental factors. They are mental factors. The first one is karma, We more or less touched on that already. Karma, sensual desire. I will simply go through the list, and then I will ask you, or give the time to ask me questions. Probably it's better to have a Q&A session rather than continue to describe all these things. Probably you will put me on a better direction with your questions. I always love and respect the audience because they always come up with fascinating questions. Let's go through this one. But the point I want to make is, according to Buddhism, there is an actual evil force that is a being, a divine being, is a universal, a cosmic being called the Mara. And at the same time, Maras are mental factors, but in our spirituality, when we take care of the last 4 Maras, so we should be able to guard ourselves against the attack from the Mara, the deity. That's the whole point here. That's where the meditation comes into play, mindfulness. Now, karma, the sensual desire, the craving of sensual pleasures, that's the first Mara. And arati, aversion or distraction from spirituality, discontent, lack of satisfaction or restlessness. When you lack satisfaction in spirituality, doing good things, arati is attacking you, because arati is discontent. Arati is very famous. A lot of people come up with this army, but now these are called armies of the Mara. But the thing is, all these armies, as you know, they are mental factors. But again, we have to leave the place open. But you can make your own decision. You could either say, okay, Maras are nothing but mental factors, or there can be. They could be the actual army of the Mara, but in imagery, you see the imagery of the Mara, you could say Buddha is sitting and Mara is appearing in different garbs. There are, according to the Chinese depiction of Mara, Chinese Buddhist depiction of Mara, it is always a dragon. According to Indian depiction of Mara, it is a cobra. Because there are no cobras in China, there are no dragons in India. so that's the cultural. Culture plays a very important role in depiction, artistic depiction. And the second one is arati. Third one is thina midda. Now this is one of the trickiest armies of the Mara. Thina is sloth. This is the standard English term, sloth and torpor. Sloth and torpor. Thina midda. But I would always use a layman's term. Dullness of the mind, dullness of the body. Now, sloth is mostly about your mind, and torpor is mostly about your body. Now, when you have eaten thina and middha, so the middha comes from a Vedic Sanskrit term meaning mid, fat. What happens to when you eat fatty food? Sit in meditation and try. You fall asleep. Middha is fat. So so the middha is more about your physical body. But thina and middha are listed as one term, one word. Elsewhere it is considered thina. When your dullness of the mind is specifically mentioned, it is only the word thina is used. But especially in spiritual practice, thina and middha are used as one term. It's combined as one term, middha, sloth and torpor. There's another term, mental and physical laziness. Dullness. I prefer the term dullness, probably because I teach children mostly. Dullness of the mind, dullness of the body. Think about fatty food. That's why in spiritual practice, you are supposed to eat a simple meal. Especially don't eat cheese. This is not a dietitian's lecture, but don't eat cheese, fatty food. You are not able to meditate, and it gives you a lot of middha. And the number one is bihiru, fear. Bhaya, that's bhaya, fear. Bihiru, bhaya, Bhairava, these words called fear. Fear of suffering or challenges in the spiritual path. Now you are, you are not sure. You have some, the next one is, the next army, they are from the same regiment. Those regiments they coordinate. What are they? If you use the military language, Bhiru, fear, and Vichikicha. Bhiru is fear of suffering or challenges. Sometimes due to peer pressure, or due to overthinking, due to overconfidence, you feel like you are not going to achieve. There's some fear, and it happens to spiritual people a lot. And next one, Vichikicha, doubt, skepticism, of lack of, so you keep speculating. Now, Bhiru, if they are regiments, if there are 10 different regiments, now the regiment of fear and regiment of doubt, they coordinate the attack. Because when you lack, confidence, and then automatically you become doubtful. So it happens to a lot of people, even you don't have to talk about the spiritual path. Let's about your studies, in your day-to-day life, in your professional circle, etc. It happens to us. And number 6 is makka, ingratitude or contempt. Ingratitude, failing to appreciate others' kindness, makka. M-A-K-K, makka. It's very common. It's a very common army of the Mara. Failing to appreciate others. So that is that's opposite of mudita, the good one, altruism. You have no regard for altruism. You don't have no regard for other people's happiness. You don't appreciate. That's called makka. So an easier way to remember makka is you try your best to delete other people's contributions, or just you pretend not to notice. You pretend not to notice, and you disregard, you neglect. That's called makka. Actually, so then it comes back to it boomerangs. When you don't appreciate, because of makka, don't expect others to appreciate you back. You can complain because you don't appreciate others, and respect also comes. When you don't respect others, don't expect others to respect you back. Respect is to be given. By giving, you earn it. You can force others to respect you. So that's one army of Mara, one regiment of. And the next one is number 7 is Palasa. Palasa, P-A-L-S, Palasa. Envy is mostly is not envy, is obstinacy. Obstinacy, jealousy and stubbornness. Palasa is such that you are jealous, so that you try your best to justify your jealousy by doing everything possible to avoid communication. It's a very, see how subtle this Mara is. Obstinacy, Palasa. You are jealous because you are jealous, and you try your best to ignore. When you find, so that by ignoring the person, by avoiding the eye contact, you have some subtle, some brutal happiness. That's brutal, and that gives you some brutal happiness. That's Palasa. Next one is Labha, number 8. Greed for gain, Labha. Excessive desire for material possessions or fame. When you look for glory, right? If you use the opportunity to glorify yourself, glory, and Labha. Labha, that's gain. That's one of the 10. Labha is a Mara because there's no end to it. When you run after excessive desire, comfort, reputation, etc., what happens is, at a certain point, you will get stuck. Why? When people don't appreciate you anymore, because you are addicted. When you are addicted to desire and possessions, the moment you miss something, you can't stand that. So Labha can land you in depression. And number 9 is siloka, desire for fame and praise. Now, these are also regiments that work together, coordinate. Labha and siloka work together, they coordinate with each other in attacking you. Siloka, desire for fame and praise, attachment to reputation and recognition. Now, my teacher, my grand teacher, I had 3 teachers. One is still living. The oldest teacher, the teachers told me that Upananda, when somebody don't expect others to thank you, when you expect thanks from others, and when they don't do that, they may feel it. And you will go to the extent that you would expect a verbal thank you from others. When people don't thank you, you get angry. But it's always better to help others without expecting anything in return, even a thank you. But actually that land me in trouble in certain cultures, because I trained myself not to get moved by people's thanks. One day when I simply smiled and I didn't say you are welcome, and I think, Bhante, I'm very close to you, and several times people told me right to my face, but in the absence of anyone, because they didn't want to. I think you have too much ego. Why so egoistic? Why not welcome my thanks? And then I would narrate the whole thing. You know what? I thank you in my heart, because there's a different practice. Then after that I changed my way of thinking, because I was on the extreme. Why? Never thanking others, never welcoming thanks. That's not good. Then I would do is that when people thank me, I wholeheartedly accept it, but I make sure not to feel proud. Not to feel proud, I'm the one, they thank me. So that's called siloka. That's how you control siloka, 9th regiment. The 10th one is mana. That is, mana literally means measure. You measure. And you come up with 3 types of mana. Sayya mana, you are superior to others. This is superior to complex according to psychology. Sadhisa mana, you struggle to equal yourself to someone else. It's not listed as a standard complex in Buddhism, modern psychology. You want to come back. The 3rd one is Hina-mana, inferiority complex. Only superiority complex and inferiority complex do you come across in. But there's a 3rd one, the middle one. So that is when you struggle to equal yourself to others. But always you locate someone. When it comes to material wealth or talents and abilities, capabilities, you don't go for someone whose talents are way too high, because you will fail. You will always try to get, this happens to people actually. Sometimes people come for counseling, they do say that. Says, okay, my house is, okay, so-and-so's house is 7 million worth 7 million. Mine is 1 million. And so I would never try to equal myself. If it's 7 million, I can say 5 million, okay. If my house is 5 million, I can try. That's how people think. People always justify. But there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is here, so you feel uneasy. Why struggle to compare yourself with others? According to Buddhism, there's nothing called competition. The competition is only with yourself, and Buddha says that too. And then I always teach this to children. I always tell children, don't compete with children from your class or from your school. Always compete with you. Doing whatever the marks or the scores that you got you in the last semester. In the last semester, compare your last achievement in the last semester and this semester. So that is self-competition then, because you are not harming anyone. Otherwise, you become restless. So that's called the mana, arrogance. So when you have a mana measure, now I would like to say. So we don't use the pride But according to a lot of descriptions and scholars, mana is translated as pride. But actually there's a subtle difference between mana and conceit. Conceit has a negative connotation, where the pride has a positive connotation. I am proud of you. So that pride, we have pride. So in general psychology and in general ethics also, personally also, I use conceit for mana and not pride. So the pride, you can be happy based on your something achievement. Whereas mana is unrealistic. You use mana, conceit to belittle someone. When you are honestly happy about your achievements, you can even boast about it, you can brag about it. That's okay, because your own achievement. But your mana, your pride can easily turn into conceit if you think that I am the one, no one else is able to outsmart me, outshine me. So that's called. So I'm going to stop here now. Because it's all has so much time here. The conclusion I would like to say is, now there are two camps, especially in the academia, that Mara is purely mental factors. It has nothing to do with such a phase. But it's okay to be. That's called a humanistic reduction of Mara in humanism. But it's okay. But you don't have, and there's nothing wrong with such conclusion. Why? Finally, let the Mara be there wherever he is. What matters is our enlightenment. Our salvation, our enlightenment is based on the transformation of our own self. So it's all Maras. We understand in the internal Maras, we can maintain our cognitive ability. It all depends on cognitive. So the Mara, the external Mara, the first one, let it be a cosmic force. Now, it is not the cosmic realities that in Buddhism we are encouraged to think about, but the cognitive ability. So you can see that dichotomy, cognitive versus cosmic. Thank you. So, any questions? Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes. Okay. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much for your teachings. All that you were talking about, like the deities, and that was written and about after the Buddha was dead.
Yeah, that opens up another area, because anyway, Buddha's teachings existed as called Bhanaka Parampara, or the oral traditions. So it was written down, it was organized. It was divided, organized into sutra form. So 3 months after the Buddha's passing away, so it came to be put into book form much later in Sri Lanka.
So the Buddha himself said that there was these deities that were coming.
Yeah.
Because I have to say that I struggle a lot with that.
Exactly, I know that.
Believe in that.
Yeah. When I use diplomatically correct language, that's what the canon records. That's what the record says. But you have, in Buddhism, you have the freedom to question.
Yes, because what I always I've heard so many, monks say there's no gods or deities, and then other monks. But the one thing that I remember being told by a monk is that Buddhism is not a religion. There's no deities, there's no gods. And when I hear you speak about all these gods, and then it's like, well, then Buddhism is a religion, because there are gods.
One thing is, there's no creator God as such in Buddhism. There are other beings in different realms. But in Buddhist, especially in the Buddhist Pali canon, so the higher place is given not to deities, divine beings, but to human beings, because human beings are capable of becoming enlightened. But what happens over time, Just like it happened in religion, the Buddha's sacred word has been transformed into a religion and a philosophy as well. So that is where the problem with the canonical teachings and the popular teachings.
Okay.
There are two levels.
Would that be, sorry, I realize that I'm taking a lot of time, shut up. But
No, it's okay, go ahead, yeah.
would that then, what you mentioned, like the last monk that I spoke with, he said that the people that, which I assume will be the 5th or the 6th realm,
Yeah.
it's very bad because they will reborn as animals. And so it's very bad to be on that realm where you're nearly enlightenment and if you are on that realm and you have a bad thought as you're dying, you are reborn as a pig.
That's one thing. They are called,
right?
Yeah, that in Buddhism, they are not actual permanent cosmic beings. They are called samsaric beings. Meaning, while an animal upon death could be reborn into heaven, a heavenly being could end up in animal body. So because they are all samsaric beings, so geometrically, if I draw a horizontal line, and above the line are enlightened human beings and others, below the lines are all gods, deities, cosmic beings, whatsoever, because they are not enlightened. So that's how we see the position of human beings over divine beings. So there's a mention of divine beings, but they don't play a role that is superior to human beings in Buddhism. So that you can very easily disregard the existence of divine beings. You can even say, I don't believe, but what matters is when it comes to enlightenment, it is purely humanistic. For which reason, Buddha has said, Ehi passiko, come and see, don't come and believe.
Don't come and believe.
Don't come and see, not come and believe.
Okay.
Come and see. If it makes sense for you, then you may accept, you may try, but there are no rules and regulations or commandments. I know a lot of monks and they don't even think about those gods and heavenly beings whatsoever. They are simply work on their own enlightenment. That's why one phrase I use that you could use is humanistic reduction. Humanistic reduction means, it's an academic term, you can exclude heavens and the heavenly beings and cosmic beings and all these things, and you can simply focus your enlightenment. Your concern is your cognitive ability, not cosmic forces. Yeah. Okay. Germany? Yeah.
Yes, so a couple of points. As you know, I work with prisoners, and sometimes they blame their, misdeeds on an external being. Like Satan told me to do this, I had to murder so and so because Satan told me, or voice in my head told me. That could be obviously that could be mental illness. But on the other hand, if there is an actual deity of Mara who exists, then that's a legitimate defense of their actions, isn't it?
They are legitimate defense. What Buddha would recommend, the general recommendation is that while you respect what they believe in, you simply try to transform their issues or mindset into a better one by planting self-confidence and by guiding through mindfulness. Because I have met some people who firmly believe that they are highly influenced by Mara and other deities. In one case in Sri Lanka, it took me like 9 years to bring him to a point that he is now. He's been going around and he had visited all the god temples, devales in all over Sri Lanka. And he would spend a lot of money to go to India and other countries visiting deities. And then and he had also been to doctors and psychologists and therapists would always suggest. Then but I asked him several times. I had to come to the temple. At that time I was based in Sri Lanka, and then I would give him a room and meditate with me early morning. I wake him up and I would keep listening to him And then I would purposely ask him what kind of devas, what kind of divine being, supernatural presence that he would encounter, etc. Finally, he became fed up with his own narrative. But I knew that, so I respected. I never countered that. Instead, I listened to him, and they came to the point that he became tired and he listened. And so sometimes when you have, because in therapy and in psychology, in spirituality, in ethics actually, right? We don't judge anyone, right? I know as a therapist you speak to those limitations. So what happens is, now by making someone speak when we're sharing, and they come to a point that they have no more to say, and they stop narrating things. And finally, and they would then pay attention to their own mental health issues and physical health and all these. And especially, most of the time, as a therapist, on my side is I always see when they feel tired of their narratives, and that's the breaking point. That's the breaking point. But it is time-consuming. But we can regulate someone's right? So there's no regulation. So then I feel when I feel they are tired, and that's when I would, are you tired? When I would ask, yes, I'm tired. Why? Do you need some drink? You need some water or something? You need to take a break? No. I'm emotionally tired. I don't have any feelings. And then I would say, okay, let's talk about something about your life, things that you had in your life, probably childhood memories, etc. I do the same thing in dementia counseling too. So that's, yes, I would say.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, please, yeah.
So earlier in your talk, you were saying how one argument is that Mara is not a literal deity, but is merely the personification of, various negative forces.
Yeah.
Okay? If you look at it in that abstract way, rather than the literal way,
right.
Why does not Buddhism have an equal and opposite force, which is personified as what a Christian might call God? Why don't we have that personification of the good forces in the universe?
Actually, so what Buddha says is, now when it comes, this is an excellent question. Now what Buddha says is the opposite personification. The personification of good force is your mind. That's the term that Buddha uses, and he said, "Chittena niyati loko chittena parikassati chittassa eka dhammasa sabbeo vasamannagu." If there's a force in the universe, in the world, that overpowers you, that directs you, that regulates you, that directs you, that puts you in different places as it wish, is the mind. So control it. Then your mind, once controlled, it becomes the force of the universe. That's against the evil force. So that's when the first line of the very first Dhammapada verse is Mano Pubbangama Dhamma. First and the second, and then says Mano Setta Mano Maya Manasa Che Pasannena Pasannena Manasa Paduttena Manasa. Padutta Manasa means defiled mind. When you say something adulterated or contaminated mind, padutta manasa, and it creates your own mara. When you say something pasannena manasa, pasanna manasa, pleasant mind, clear mind, and that empowers you. So the mind itself is the opposite force. So sometimes, some religious people, they would try to come up with, to equal and to see like the God and devil, God and Satan, and some people, some people have asked me whether if Mara is the evil force, is the Buddha the force of the good? I said, no, you can't take it like that, because if you want, it's not the Buddha actually, it's the Buddha's mind, it's the mind. Because Buddha is not a person, it's a position. When the mind is fully transformed, it's called the Buddha. Grammatically, etymologically, Buddha is a past participle. Past participle. That which has been understood, that which has been realized. That's what Buddha means. So it's the mind, the Buddha. And that's the difference between Siddhartha and the Buddha. So the mind, is the opposite force. The force of the good, force of good, as opposed to force of evil. So that's the equal force, not the Buddha himself. But some people are in a religious sense, because people always want things to be deified or personified. That's what happened to karma in the Western perception also. You know, karma will take care. Children say karma guy will take care of my sibling, my sister, my brother is evil. I'm going to ask karma guy to punish him. That's for the children. I love their language. And then the adults would say, karma, BITCH will take care of you. Right? So, but people always, in our perception, that's what happened to polytheism and monotheism too. And Buddha explained in the Buddha's teachings, like anthropological sutras, like I think, if I am correct, the Kutadantan Sutra, where Buddha talks about the genesis and the mindset, mentality of earliest human beings, primal human beings. When primal human beings saw the natural occurrences of the sunset, sunrise, sunset, rain, thunder, flood, volcanic eruption, cold, sun, etc. And then they thought that there were different deities. They were so that our primal ancestor deified or personified so the natural events, like natural occurrences, like disasters. And later they came to be identified as gods. So that's why you come as Marut, wind god, Varuna, god of ocean, Valahaka, rain goddess, moon goddess, sun god. Moon is a goddess because it's very refined at night. So gods and so that paved the way for the polytheism. And so Buddha was very anthropological. Polytheism means belief in many gods. And later, over time, people would think, our ancestors would think that all these different deities, they work, they do their duty without interfering with each other. Probably there's a bigger one overseeing them. And that paved the way for the monotheism, polytheism and monotheism, anthropologically and according to, but theologically. So that's when, to me personally, I always look at the Buddha's teaching in a humanistic perspective. Because I don't care whether the Mara is there or not. For toward the end of the day, I must deal with my own jealousy, anger, etc. Right? Perhaps I might have bad dreams, fussy dreams, is because of my anger. Perhaps at night, my anger would would visualize itself in the garb of the demon or the devil or a monster in my head. Right? It happens to people. So those are anxiety dreams. Anxiety. So anxiety dreams are basically based on the Mara, the mental factors. When you are restless and anxious. Yes, yes.
One thing you mentioned this the connection between Mara and sexual desires.
Yeah.
So when would one person know whether, I'm sure everyone here has sexual desires at some point in their life or even right now.
Yeah.
So how would you know whether this is Mara induced or is there something else, or is it always Mara induced?
So it's something that's open actually.
For example, you can be talking, you can be attracted to your heart.
That's right, yeah. But now the thing is, to me, I always look at that thing because I work with, sometimes I counsel people with some those issues. Some people, a certain percentage would call, they identify themselves as having deviant behavior, something. But overall, in general, in the Buddhist perspective, nothing is deviant. But that's how the world is. But nowadays there's big issues going on this, that's now what's happening, this new American president is against all this in politics and in healthcare, all these things. There's two camps of argue, two camps. One camp is saying that nothing deviant, and often says unless you go with the natural order, union between man and a woman is natural, and the union between a man and a man and a woman is unnatural. not deviant and like that. Even the constitutions were, amended. The first Canada was the first country to amend the constitution like that. So now, personally to me, I always put this sexual behavior thing in the category of mental factors. Mental factor, but again in religion, there are some people who have deified their sexuality. Because some people have told me that they have created this image of a goddess or a god, and they would use a big a poster, a picture hanging on the wall, and they would even spray perfume, and they would light a fragrant candle, and saying that this is my God, this is my goddess. That's all purely imagination. Because people, that's called marichiku upama sanya. That's what, perception is a mirage. So perception is a mirage. That's according to one of the little sutras. Perception is a mirage. Marichi is mirage. So people do imaginations, and when it comes to sexuality in particular, is mostly imaginative. Because when you imagine, you create a parallel self also. That's what happens when I know that so that people, some children, people come for counseling, they are addicted to phones and blue things, right? And sometimes they see that they even, so everyone due to hormonal growth, and when we start growing up, according to Sigmund Freud and also, but you don't have to go that far to refer to Sigmund Freud, and what Buddha says is, we start enjoying our physical image, especially due to hormonal growth, and especially children, they turn like 13, they spend long hours in the bathroom. They enjoy their physical image. That's called self-raga. And sometimes people not only look for an imaginative, like a divine force or something that would comfort them when it comes to sexual gratification. They would do, almost anyone would do in their life is that they look at their own image as divine. When, in case you are not happy with your physical image, and you may create parallel like it's like a fantasy thing. That's where the fantasy comes into play. Fantasy. The first thing in fantasy is that you create a self-image, and of that image you maintain it's you, something you are different in that image. You are in that. Sometimes in verbal communication, you will ask your partner, "How do you? How do I look to you? Am I handsome? Am I pretty?" So that's the languages. So language is based on fantasy, based on fantasies. But there's nothing wrong with that, because that's when, according to Buddhism, desires are primarily neither good nor bad. They are natural. The only difference is what Buddha says is, according to certain sutras, and Buddha has come up with this ethical framework. What is beneficial to you but harmful to someone is not good. What is beneficial to someone else but not harmful to you is not good. What is beneficial to you, what is harmful to you and others as well is definitely evil. It's not good. What is beneficial to you and others as well, that is ethical, and that's good. So that is the ethical framework that Buddha has used, ethical framework. So for this recording purpose, give me 1 second, I will pull that out for you. Okay. That sutra, because so that's called, the sutra's name is that, give me 1 second, I really need to share it with you now, because this is going in on social media. So it's called, 1 minute. So 1 second please. Sutra name is done. So be good. I'm trying to pull out the actual sutra's name. I will give you the reference later on, the ethical reference. I can't pull that out right away. The name of the sutra. But again, the fourfold ethical framework is what is beneficial to you, but harmful to someone else. Not good. What is beneficial to someone else, but harmful to yourself? Not good either. It's not good. You know, there are some people who go extra mile to help someone, putting themselves in having the problem, economic problems and health problems, because you are doing too much for others, putting your health in jeopardy. That's also not good. What is harmful to you and others is definitely unethical, not good. And the fourth one is what is beneficial to you and others. That's good. So that is the ethical framework, overall universal ethical framework that we use in our effort to determine what is good and bad. So that is why when you come to desires, when it comes to satisfy your desires, gratify your desires, so they have to look at everything within this framework. Okay. Okay, yeah.
How would you then defend the bodhisattva vow?
Yeah, okay.
You're laying down your life to help someone.
Oh, great one. It's not considered harmful. That's a spiritual cause. But the thing is, what is harmful means? That's an excellent question. People get upset and they go through a lot of suffering that I have done harm to myself. In case you don't, you can get over with that you are sacrificing yourself for a good cause, and there's zero opportunity, zero chance for anger, frustration, disappointment, etc. Then, because to you it's not harmful now. That's where the difference. Excellent, thank you, Tulmini. So that's the difference between that's bodhisattva path.
You mentioned at some point, I can't remember where, when that meditation was all with the Mara thing. Like at one point you mentioned that's why the meditation was good, and I didn't quite understand. What is the relationship between meditation and the maras?
Yeah, internal maras, because you have to deal with the nature of your body. When your body is asking something to gratify itself, so your body is needing something, your mind is asking you something. That is about the second mara, the selfhood. But when sometimes the only thing you need is to look into your mind and why your mind is asking for that. So there is excitement, there can be excitement, there can be misunderstanding, there could be unrealistic imagination, etc. When you meditate, what happens is you can get rid of the basic excitement in meditation. And most of the time when excitement is gone, you come to a point that you may even not think about that again. So it's just called that's experience, based on experience. For example, a lot of people coming for meditation, they come up with economic problems. Sometimes, recently somebody came and she got to pay a lot of bills, but there was no one to help her, and I myself couldn't do that. So that what happens is, then I asked her to relax and meditate. Now say that 1 week later, she told me that now she feels more peace in her body and mind. That doesn't mean that she found any solution for her burning problems. but she achieved what is called mental peace. What happened? So then she told me, now I know where to begin, where to start dealing with my issues and problems. Before I didn't know where to start. Now she got a starting point. That's what the meditation gives. Clarity. It's clarity. Mm-hmm.
Even though you are doing the vipassana where you just observing constantly your thoughts, feelings.
Exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That exercise.
You need, yeah. Mm-hmm. I know some people doing deeper vipassana, there are times that they fall from a vipassana, they feel like going back to samatha, like calm. Why? That over time they got highly stressed out. So that what happens is so that, but the thing is, conventionally, people maintain that vipassana is way higher than samatha, and then shame on me, I lost my vipassana, how could I go back to samatha? There's no such thing. Because people think about vipassana and samatha and vipassana vertical, in a vertical sense. It's not vertical actually. While some people achieve samatha within the first 2 minutes of their meditation, someone else would fail to achieve vipassana. While someone else achieved samatha, vipassana within the first 2 minutes of their meditation for the first time in their life, someone else who had done meditation for 15 years still find it difficult to achieve vipassana. It's not a matter of timing. It's not a matter of experience actually. It is your determination, your aspiration, wanting to have some peace for yourself. So that is why aditthana or aspiration is a must when you sit in meditation. It's a must, yeah. Mm-hmm. Sometimes some people come and say, hey Bhante, I never achieved, I don't know, solutions are nowhere close to me, but one thing is now I feel happy. I'm relatively more peaceful now. I think the first question, the first problem that I need to deal with is I'm going to pay down my bills. I think I haven't spoken to my children or my mom, my husband, my wife in ages. So I'm going to make a phone call. They have come to the point that they have made up their mind to take that initiative, the first step again. So the meditation gives that readiness, prepares, readies you, it gives you that preparation, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
One last question.
Yes, please.
In the mind of a bodhisattva,
yes,
the aspiration to lay down their lives for somebody else. What is different between that and the mind of a suicide bomber who also lays down their life for the cause?
As Buddhist, it's the motive. It's the motive. If your motive involves the destruction of some being, someone else, it's not a pure, it's not ethical then. Because that, again, you can put that in within that framework. Now, a bodhisattva is sacrificing himself for his own enlightenment one day, that is his own benefit, and at the same time helping others, that's the benefit of others. That's the benefit for me, benefit for others. Whereas a suicide bomber, he would say that, oh, it benefits me, I take my own life. Even if he can justify taking his own life as beneficial, but he is killing many people. So that his action is not beneficial, even by his own suicide bomber's own standards, own belief. It would benefit him, but it doesn't fit into that universal ethical framework, because here he is taking someone else's life, because it's harmful to someone else. Okay, see? So that is basically, I would like to say thank you so much for attending. I know there's so many people, like it was live streamed via Facebook and YouTube. I thank both you attending in person here at London Buddhist Vihara, and everyone and others who have been listening on YouTube and Facebook. And my heartfelt thanks to London Buddhist Vihara Trust for organizing this monthly talk. And special vandana and respect to Most Venerable Siral Mahathera, Venerable Bandura Mahathera, Venerable Panyasara Thera, Venerable Sukhitamano Thera, our monastic senior and junior monastic colleagues in my case. And thank you everyone. Finally, thanks everyone for letting me share my humble experience. Without you, how could I share my Dhamma? By sharing, so I can skill up on my knowledge, and at the same time you validate, your presence validates my ability, my ability to continue. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. May you be well, happy and peaceful. Wish you all the best with your spiritual practice. Thank you.